Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today's Thursday, May 11th, 2023. Today, NBA and Stanley Cup playoffs, MLB, soccer, golf, reality TV, news and notes, and best bet. NBA playoffs is first. We'll go over the results from last night and look ahead to two monster Game 6s tonight that are elimination games. Knicks over the Heat, 112-103 to stave off elimination and force a Game 6. As they make it interesting, Jalen Brunson had 38.7 assists, 8 boards, played all 48 minutes. Jimmy Butler, a pedestrian, 19 points and 9 assists. Warriors over the Lakers, 121-106 to force a Game 6. Stave off elimination, make it this interesting. Stephen Curry, 27 points, 8 assists. LeBron James, 25 points, 9 boards. Big story of this game is that Anthony Davis got hurt his head in the game. Hopefully he'll be okay, and he was spotted in a wheelchair, which is not good. So 2 games tonight, 7:30 ESPN. You have the Celtics at the Sixers. Monster game. Celtics, second year in a row in the second round. Facing elimination. It looks like that it'll be Mark Jones and Doris Burke on the call for this one. You could argue they probably would have had Mike Breen, Mark Jackson, and Jeff Van Gundy had the Lakers closed out last night. Boston's favorite 2.5 totals, 212.5. I project Sixers 3.5 total, 226 and 19-20. So I'm gonna play the over again. I don't get why these totals are so low. The over's been hitting a lot in the playoffs, other than a couple of those Knicks Heat games and Knicks Caps too, for that matter. So I'm gonna go over 212.5 for my pick here, and I do project the Sixers as a favorite. So at gunpoint, they probably close out. And then 10 o'clock ESPN, Nuggets, Suns. Suns are favored by 3 total, 225.5. No Chris Paul. So, for my projection, it is going to be the Denver Nuggets by probably 4.5. Yup. Total 226 and 3/4. I picked Nuggets in 6 in the series. I think they close out tonight. No Chris Paul. Jokic is the best player in the series. So give me Denver +3 and +128 to win outright. I had Nuggets in 6 as my series pick. But why are the Celtics favored? I don't get it. They are terrible in close games. They have a coach that is clearly a rookie coach, doesn't know what he's doing in these games, and is getting outcoached by a coach that historically chokes in this spot in Doc Rivers. So, at gunpoint, I think both these series end tonight. And then the Western Finals start on Sunday between the Nuggets and the Lakers, maybe. Unless if Golden State forces a Game 7. But I would moneyline parlay the 2 underdogs. That's for sure. I do think that maybe one of these goes 7 and the other closes out. But then again, you could say that both home teams are win, or one underdog will win and one favorite will win. So it's going to be interesting. But at gunpoint, I think the 2 underdogs win their respective games as Philly moves on and the Nuggets move on. But we shall see. And then calling Nuggets Suns is Dave Pash and Hubie Brown. So then I wonder who gets the Miami Knicks Game 6. It's probably Mark and Doris are probably going to do a back-to-back, or they're probably going to get like Ryan Ruocco and J.J. Redick and Richard Jefferson. So yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. Mark and Doris are probably going to get a back-to-back, and then Mike, Mark, and Jeff will get Warriors, Lakers. All right, Stanley Cup playoffs. We'll go over the results from yesterday and look ahead to today's games. Maple Leafs over the Panthers 2-1 to get on the board in the series to avoid the sweep. Number 3 started game with 23 saves on 25 shots. Sergei Bobrovsky, number 2, started game with 24 saves on 25 shots. Joseph Woll, number 1, started game with a goal and assist. Mitch Marner. Oilers over the Golden Knights 4-1 to even up the series at 2 apiece. Number 3 started game with a goal, Nick Jukstad. Number 2 started game with 2 assists, Connor McDavid. Number 1 started game with a goal, Evan Bouchard. All right, 2 games tonight, 7 o'clock, TNT. Devils, Hurricanes. Hurricanes can close out the Devils here with the win and go to the conference finals. If New Jersey wins, they force a game 6. The Canes are favored -130. New Jersey's +108, over under 5.5. Over is -130, unders +106. New Jersey +1.5 is -230. Canes -1.5 is +188. We'll see what New Jersey does in net. But personally, I do think Hurricanes over 3.5 goals at +134 is really good value because Devils goaltending's been subpar in this series. 9:30 TNT, Kraken Stars, Game 5. Stars -196, Kraken +162, over under 5.5, overs -134, unders +110. Kraken +1.5 is -152, Stars -1.5 is +126. For this one, I'm going to go over 3.5 Dallas goals at -104. Alrighty. Now move on to baseball. We'll go over the results from yesterday and look ahead to today's game. The reason why I didn't go over hockey announcing crews was because there's some news related to a big name in NHL media, which we'll get to in news and notes. All right, Yankees over the A's 11-3 to complete the sweep. Rockies over the Pirates 4-3. Tigers over the Guardians 5-0. Dodgers over the Brewers 8-1. So best bet lost. Marlins over the D-backs 5-4. Rangers over the Marlins 4-3. Nats over the Giants 11-6. Phils over the Blue Jays 2-1 and 10 on a very wild end of game sequence. Bryce Harper grounds into fielder's choice, and then the third baseman Edmundo Sosa scores on a throwing error by Bo Bichette, but Trey Turner was out at second base. There's a very bizarre finish to that game. Astros over the Angels 5-4. Orioles over the Rays 2-1 as they win that series. Mets over the Reds 2-1. Red Sox over the Braves 5-2. Royals over the White Sox 9-1. Twins over the Padres 4-3 and 11 on a walk-off single by Alex Kirilloff. And Cubs over the Cardinals 10-4. Wow, so there are only 6 games tonight in baseball. All right, so Boston and Philly lucked out because that's a big game 6. The Diamondbacks are playing. That's unfortunate for them. And the Rockies don't play. And then on the other side, the Yankees and the Mets do play. I mean, most of them are Ranger Islander fans, but that's the Devils. And the Texas Rangers play at the same time as the Stars. That's not good. The Mariners don't play, so that's good news for that fan base. And that Carolina area doesn't have an MLB team. So, but the good news is that those that are Mets and Devils fans, the Met game is during the day today. So I just wanted to do go over some of those like fan conflicts per se. All right, 12:30 of the Mets at the Reds. Cody Senga, Derek Law. Mets going for the series win. They're minus 200. Reds are plus 168 over under 10.5, minus 110 each way. Mets minus 1.5 is minus 134. Reds plus 1.5 is plus 112. Cody Senga is really good, I think. And he kind of hit a little bit of a bump. I'm going to go under 4 Reds runs, minus 102. 1 o'clock, Padres Twins. Yu Darvish and Bailey Ober. Padres minus 120, Twins plus 102, over under 8. Overs minus 120, unders minus 102. Padres minus 1.5 is plus 136. Twins plus 1.5 is minus 164. Full game under. 2 o'clock, White Sox Royals. Mike Clevenger and Brady Singer. Royals are slight favorites at minus 116. White Sox are minus 102 over under 9. Overs minus 114, unders minus 106. White Sox minus 1.5 is plus 150. Royals plus 1.5 is minus 182. Over 9, full game over. 7 o'clock, MLB Network, Rays Yankees. Drew Rasmussen, Domingo Herman. Same pitching matchup as Saturday at the Trop. Rays are minus 126. Favorites on the road. The Yankees are a home underdog, plus 108. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 115. Unders minus 105. Rays minus 1.5 is plus 130. Yankees plus 1.5 is minus 156. I'm going to go full game under. These two guys pitched a good game on Saturday, and I think it kind of carries over. 9:30, Giants D-backs. Alex Cobb, Tommy Henry. The Giants are minus 136. The D-backs are plus 116 over under 9.5. Overs minus 104. Unders minus 118. Giants minus 1.5 is plus 115. D-backs plus 1.5 is minus 138. For this one, I'm going to go with under 4 Diamondbacks runs, minus 106. Alex Cobb's been really good this year so far. And last but not least, Rangers A's. Nate Eovaldi, even though it's going for Oakland. The Rangers minus 240. The A's are plus 184. Over under 8.5, minus 110 each way. Rangers minus 1.5 is minus 142. A's plus 1.5 is plus 118. Tough one. But not really. But it's tough because I like the same team totals. But I'm going to go full game over, but I don't feel good about it. Bang on the Ranger offense a little bit. All right, now move on to soccer. We'll go over the results from yesterday and look ahead to the games for today. So let's see here. We'll start the U.S. Open. Here in America. So I'm trying to find that here. Because there's results here that I wanted to go over. So, Galaxy over Seattle 3-1. Austin over New Mexico United 2-0. Nashville over FC Dallas 2-0. Portland loses Salt Lake 4-3. Houston Dynamo over Sporting KC 1-0, including a red card. Birmingham over Memphis 3-0. Columbus over Loudoun United FC 5-1. Cincinnati over NYCFC 1-0. So that's it for the round of 32 U.S. Open games. All right, Europa League, first leg of the semifinals, AS Roma and Leverkusen. I am going to pull up the odds real quick. Roma's plus 120, Leverkusen's plus 240, draws plus 210. I think Leverkusen's playing well. I'm going to take them at plus 240 as an underdog here. And then Juventus and Sevilla. Juventus is minus 440. Sevilla's plus 410, draws plus 230. Sevilla's been really good. Tough to go against Juventus, though. So I'm going to go with I wanted to go with the draw. I can't go against Juventus. So I'm going to go over 2.5 goals at plus 132. Europa Conference League. So 3 o'clock you have Fiorentina and FC Basel. Fiorentina's minus 410. Basel 7-1, draws plus 410. Can't really go against Basel here. I'm going to go over 3.5 goals at plus 156. And West Ham and AZ Alkmaar. West Ham's minus 165. AZ's plus 460. Draws plus 280. West Ham is on a nice run, but kind of do like Alkmaar. I'm going to go over 2.5 goals at minus 104. And then Mexican Liga, first leg, Atlas and Guadalajara. So this is technically their playoffs. Guadalajara's third, Atlas is ninth. So, I wonder how that works. Does their top 10 get in and or top 12? That's weird that those two are going up against one another. So, Outlaws is plus 135. Guadalajara is 2-1. Draws plus 210. Guadalajara is better. Just hands down. I'm going to take them at 2-1. And then 11 o'clock, you have Tigres and Toluca. Tigres is minus 120. Toluca's 3-1. The draws plus 270. I'm going to go with the draw plus 270. UEFA from yesterday, Inter Milan over Milan 2-0. I'm just going to check real quick through the other leagues and make sure we didn't miss anything. A lot of leagues are playing tomorrow, which is good. And we have the English League Championship coming up starting over the weekend, so that's a lot of fun. So we'll keep you posted on all that. We'll do more soccer tomorrow. Now we'll move on to golf. We have an early leaderboard for the AT&T Byron Nelson. Your leader right now with the score of 3 under is Saying You'll Know. Tied for second with 1 under. James Hahn, Doug Gibb, Nate Lashley, Cam Champ, Adam Scott tied for 7th at even. Herrick Norlander, Cheng Sampan, Pat Gazier, Sang Moon Bay, Austin Cook, Matthew Neesmith, Scott Brown, Andrew Novak, Kevin Tway, Tyler Duncan, Minwoo Lee, Mackenzie Hughes, Chad Ramey, Hideki Matsuma, Trey Molinax, Tom Kim, Tyrell Hatton, Richie Runsky, Aaron Weiss, Luke List, Matt Kuchar, Scott Stallings, Tied for 29th at 1 over. Robert Stroud, Kramer Hickok, Chris Stroud, Ryan Moore, Christian Ziedenhout, Alex Baddeley, and 35th with 2 overs, Stuart Sink. So very early leaderboard right now. All right, now we'll recap last night's episode of The Masked Singer. It was very interesting. Of a show is the semifinal. The California roll went first. There were some more clues in this episode. There's a ping pong table. Number 1 roll. There were horseshoes, beach chairs. And this group performed Breakaway by Kelly Clarkson. This is the episode where I did the panelist connections. So they have a tie to Jenny. A time on Broadway that they remember. My guest sticks, Jenny said, the cast of Dear Evan Hansen. Nicole said the Hamilton cast and the Spring Awakening cast. And Ken said the In the Heights cast. Up second was Medusa. There were twin beds. There was a photo of somebody that was significant in her life that she lost. And she said that she got pregnant in 2020 after her loss. There was a photo of Sarah McLachlan. There is an apple. The Big Apple, maybe. Must be a tie to New York. And this individual performed Take Me to Church by Hozier. She was amazing, as always. The panelist connection was Robin. Their voices have taken them on the journey, and they've gotten platinum records. I'm still sticking with the Fergie guess, and I think she's trying to throw everybody off now. We're at that point of the season. I wouldn't know where the tie with Sarah would come in. Maybe they have a song with the same title. Maybe Sarah did a cover of her song. So there must be like a tie with Sarah McLachlan that we don't know about here. Maybe they were in a movie together. And I'm not just assuming it's Fergie when I'm talking about this, but like I'm talking about whoever Medusa is. But I was just saying, curious, like I wouldn't know the tie with Fergie there. Robin said Ellie Goulding and Grimes. Nicole threw out a couple of names, but she said that none of them are moms. Natalie Merchant, Haley Steinfeld, Dove Cameron. And then Ken went with Dido, which was dumb. And then McCall went last. He was unsure of who he was. There was a red chili pepper. He talks about announcing something that changed his life. There was a vote sign. And this person performed What Makes You Beautiful by Love Direction. The panelist clue, there was a connection with Nicole. Loves to travel and special love for the Philippines. I think this is former American Idol runner-up David Archuleta. There's a hint about him coming out as gay. He recently came out and is a part of the LGBTQ plus community. The vote sign means that he was on American Idol. And then Nicole said David as well as Darren Criss. Robin said Daniel Bedingfield. And Jenny said Daniel Radcliffe, who plays Harry Potter, which was a very Ken-esque guess. Battle Royale was next. It was a 3-way to Runaway Baby by Bruno Mars. Callie Roll went first. McCall went second. Medusa went third. And who goes home? An absolute stunner. The California Roll goes home. They did not deserve to go home. They were really good. And I thought that McCall should have went home and Callie Roll should have lived to sing another day. My final guess for Callie Roll is Styx. Nicole's final guess was the cast of Pitch Perfect. Ken's final guess was the cast of In the Heights. Robin and Jenny both went with Pentatonics. And who was it? It was indeed Pentatonics. So Robin and Jenny were both correct. If I'm not mistaken, it's probably Robin's first correct guess of the season. I think Jenny might have had one right earlier in the year, but the panel hasn't been right a lot this year, which is stunning. And that's what's great about the new format as well. But Cali Roll went back-to-back episodes, so that's how they got used to them a little bit. So the finale's next week. Looking forward to that. All right, Survivor last night was very interesting. We will talk about that episode. It starts off with Carolyn complaining about how they left her out of the vote and how pissed off she was. And but she confronted Carson and Jam Jam, but they made amends the next morning. And Danny started to make moves to eliminate one of the Tika trio with Jam Jam as his first target. And then the immunity challenge, the players hung underneath the steel barricade in the ocean as the tide went up. And as the challenge wore on, it gave them less room to breathe, making it more difficult. And if a player got away from the grate, they're eliminated, and the last person standing won, as Jam Jam won immunity for the first time this season, so congrats to Jam Jam. This is always one of my favorite individual immunity challenges. I remember last year it was a tie, Carla, and I want to say it was Cody or Jesse that also, or it might have been Owen. It was Carla and somebody else that won that last year as like a tie. I remember that. So Jam Jam won immunity, which led to Danny targeting Carson. Carolyn felt uneasy, so she owned up to Carson about the idol and considered playing it for him to eliminate Danny. And at Tribal, Carolyn got into a minor argument with Danny and Lauren over gameplay. And then she goes and plays her idol for Carson to negate the two votes against him. And the two remaining Ratus voted against Heidi in the case of the idol, as the Tika trio sent Danny to the jury, with Carolyn's vote crossing out Lauren's name. That is so funny. But had she kept Lauren, then it would have been a Heidi-Danny revote. And then Danny probably would have went home in the revote, though, because then Carolyn would have wrote down Danny. So, rip to my winner pick. Heidi and Danny voted for Carson. And Jamie and Lauren voted for Heidi. So we're down to Carolyn, Carson, Heidi, Jamie, Lauren, and Jam Jam. One of those 6 contestants will win the competition. And we'll do superlatives on the podcast next Wednesday. News and notes for today. Some more schedule leaks are out. Including Lions Chiefs to open the 2023 season at Arrowhead. Good for the Lions for getting this game. It's a nice game, but it's not sex appeal. It's not the Eagles. It's not the Bengals. It's not the Bills. Heck, I think the Chargers would have been a better game because of division rivalry. But the league is really banking on the Lions proving that their second half of the season is who they are. That's what that's telling me. Or else they're going to have egg on their face if the Lions go 7-10 this year. So I'm not thrilled with that opener. It should have been the Eagles. So we found out Aaron Rodgers' debut with the Jets will be on September 11th as they host the Buffalo Bills. So division rivalry right out of the gate. Great game. But I kind of have a problem with this. Jets and Giants play every 4 years. And it's just coincidence that the first Monday of the season falls on September 11th. This is not fair to the Giants that they are not a part of this game. And the team from New York, but not really New York City, will be playing against the Jets in that game and not the Giants. It should have been the two teams from New York City going head-to-head on a day in New York City that is big for the city. So, it's a little disappointing. The league also failed to put these two teams against each other on the 10-year anniversary of September 11th, which came to mind this morning. So, if they didn't put them to play against each other on the 10-year anniversary of September 11th, that fell on a Sunday in 2011, and those two teams played each other in the regular season that season, but on Christmas Eve. So if the league failed to do that year, so I should have known. And then the Sunday night opener apparently is Cowboys at Giants. So remember that tradition every year, that would be the Sunday nighter, except it would be in Dallas every year. Finally, it is in New York this year, so that's good that the Giants get to host the Sunday nighter this year. The NFC Championship game rematch will be in Week 13 between the Niners and the Eagles, and it looks like it'll be a 4:25 game on Fox. So, good on the league for putting that later in the year, banking on Brock Purdy to be back by then, so they could have a rematch. There's a lot of leaks coming out, and I'm trying not to look at them so I could look at the full schedule once it comes out, because sometimes the leaks are incorrect. I remember last year the league had Bills-Ravens on Thanksgiving, but that turned out to be fake news, as the night game on Thanksgiving last year was Patriots at Vikings. So don't fall for schedule-related news unless it comes from Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport. Some more football news. The Texans extend Shaq Mason for 3 years, $36 million. So a good contract extension for Shaq Mason and the Texans to finalize. And Foster Moreau signs with the Saints 2 months after being diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. 3 years, $12 million. So good for Foster Moreau for landing with the Saints, getting a nice contract. Hopefully he gets well soon. The All-NBA teams came out yesterday. And they are as final. They are as followed. So the All-NBA first team, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic, Joel Embiid, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jason Tatum. Not surprising. That is probably the rightful five, although Luka not making the playoffs is a big deal and probably should have been punished for that. Giannis, Embiid, 2 MVP candidates this year. And SGA and Tatum both had outstanding years too. Second team, you have Jaylen Brown, Jimmy Butler, Stephen Curry, Nikola Jokic, Donovan Mitchell. Really nice team. No power forward in there, which is weird. So you have a point guard, two guards, another point guard, and Jokic. In the third team, it's De'Aaron Fox, LeBron James, Dame Lillard, Julius Randle, and DeMontis Sabonis. Lillard was on a lousy team this year. He should have been nowhere near the All-NBA team. So good on the two Kings players for getting in. I think that it should have been Jalen Brunson instead of Damian Lillard, and then it would have been two Knicks, two Kings, and LeBron. That's what I would have gone, personally. And LeBron deserved it because he single-handedly pretty much willed the Lakers into the playoffs. Although that team's pretty good now. But he's still LeBron. He's not washed at all. Really interesting All-NBA teams. And then Shea had an interesting Instagram post. Donovan Mitchell took out to Twitter after missing out on All-NBA first team. Giannis was the only unanimous first-team selection, which is not surprising because of the Jokic and Embiid debate. And then Trae Young's tweeted on All-NBA, and he says he obviously wasn't happy as he called out whoever says he puts up empty stats, which is true. He's an empty stat getter, and he hasn't made the conference finals in 2 years. And, he made the conference finals because Ben Simmons self-combusted, and the Knicks were a bad team that year that took advantage of COVID. So, Trae Young really is what people say he is. An empty stats player that really can't be the best player on a championship team. It's kind of like Karl Anthony Towns in a way. If I had to make the all-empty stats team, those are probably my two players on there. So there's a lot of ways I could go with that. And then one Lakers player said, "Let them bitch and complain," as he responds to the Warriors' complaints ahead to Game 5. Mitchell Robinson got MVP chance as he went 3 for 4 from the free throw line as the Heat's Hackman strategy backfired. Emmanuel quickly missed Game 5 because of ankle, and Evan Fournier did not play due to illness. Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, and Jamal Murray did not qualify for the extension Supermax after missing out on All-NBA honors. If Ja didn't have his off-court issues, he would have made it, I think. And Tatum and Brown can earn up to $318 million and $295 million, respectively, after All-NBA nods. JJ Redick is being talked about as a potential Raptors head coach, as they looked into the possibility of him being head coach material. And he was a part of first-round candidates to meet with franchise leadership. And then the Bucks were granted permission by the Warriors to interview Kenny Atkinson. Charles Lee and James Borrego also candidates. Coach K takes a job as a special advisor for basketball ops in the NBA, so that's pretty cool that Coach K is working for the NBA now. We'll see how that works out. And Bob Huggins is staying at West Virginia as he receives the suspension and a $1 million salary reduction and sensitivity training after using the anti-gay slur on the radio on Monday. This was a big story, and Bob Huggins came out and apologized right away after he made that inappropriate comment. And I think that's part of the big reason why West Virginia didn't fire him outright. And plus, it's Bob Huggins. And everybody makes mistakes. I say this on the podcast all the time. As long as you serve your suspension, if you get suspended, then you should be forgiven. But I know a lot of people won't forgive Bob Huggins for what he said. But as long as you serve suspension, you should move on and go on with what you're doing. I didn't know how this was going to play out. It would have been unfortunate for Bob to go out like this. But I think because of the very strong apology he made, I think that saved his ass a little bit. And I think depending on how sincere you are, is a big factor of whether you get more punishment than you would have. So, obviously, Bob apologized, and West Virginia came out with a statement after Bob apologized. So, he deserved the suspension for sure. The salary reduce, I think, was necessary as well. And, unfortunately, this is going to be a big story with West Virginia basketball coming into the year, and a lot of negativity, and it could be a distraction for the team too if this story lingers into the season from like a media standpoint. So Bob's back at West Virginia, or staying there after the inappropriate comment he made, and we'll see how long that suspension is. Apparently it's 3 games, which I don't think is really long enough. I think it should be for 10 games, and then have him come back for conference play. But yeah, if it's only 3 games, I don't think that suspension is long enough. But I do think a suspension, like I said at the top of discussing this, is necessary. Also, David Willock, father, who's the father, is suing Georgia and Jalen Carter, which is the father of Devin Willock. He files a $40 million lawsuit over the crash that killed his son, former offensive lineman Devin Willock, and Georgia staffer Chandler LaCroix. That story's not going to go away. It's just not. Hunter Dickinson says the NIL played a role, as he explains the decision after getting less than 6 figures at Michigan last season. Busquets to leave Barca, as he confirms he'll move on at the end of his 18th season with the club. We'll see where he lands. The Orioles have a new splash zone. For $20, you can get sprayed with water every time the Orioles gets an extra base hit. So that's interesting. That's pretty cool for games that you would be at if it was super hot outside. Wow, awful news for the Braves. Max Fried, forearm strain. Kyle Wright, shoulder, likely out at least 2 months. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. How are they going to survive this? The Phillies are starting to come around. Maybe the Mets start to come around. And I think the Braves are in trouble, especially if the Mets and the Phillies turn things around. Right now, the Braves are in decent shape from a division standpoint. But those 2 injuries are absolutely brutal. Both those teams are 7 back. And I think the Mets have a shot to do it. They do. Their schedule's getting easier. They're only a -10 run differential, so why not? And I don't think the Marlins would catch them. I mean, maybe the Phils if Bryce gets going and their pitching's better. So, I know that they have a nice lead in their division, but that's brutal for that team. Teams are eyeing Aroldis Chapman as the Royals are receiving calls on him. That's not surprising. One of the teams that's not calling the Royals is the New York Yankees. But a lot of others are. Some hockey news. The Flyers are hiring TNT analyst and former NHL winger Keith Jones as president of hockey operations. I think this is an awful hire. Keith Jones? This has disaster written all over it. Maybe I'm wrong, and this turns out to be great, but I absolutely hate this hire. This is just ownership, just living in the past and getting big names to get the fan base excited. You just hire a smart hockey person. Not that Keith isn't smart, but he doesn't really have any front office experience. Not a great hire. Connor McDavid says Alex Pietrangelo should be suspended for slashing Leon Draisaitl. We'll see about that. NHL 23 sim game predicts big things for Connor Bedard, which is not surprising. Alrighty, last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. This is a hard one. Best bet lost yesterday with the under in that Brewers game. So I'm going to go back to baseball again. Not many games to choose from. But I really do like the under between the Padres and the Twins. Ober and Darvish are off to nice starts this year. And these two teams combined for 4-3 in extras yesterday. So I think it's a low-scoring game. I'm going to lay a half unit on under 8 between the Padres and the Twins for my best bet of the day. All right, so that's it for the show today. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything. Look at everything tomorrow and the weekend. Tonight I'm going to do an NFL schedule reaction show where I live react to the schedule. So that should be a lot of fun as well. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.